Here is an order that I just received from Figaholics, Harvey from Figaholics, and they're 9 cuttings, 3, 6, 7, 8. Oh, there's 2 of them in this one. And this is how they come wrapped with a nice little label. Makes it nice and easy. These have been placed in storage, have a nice thick cutting and a semi-thick cutting. A lot of these are relatively long, and so if the node spacing is really long, I'm gonna plant them individually. And if the node spacing is close together, then I'm going to cut them in half and plant them. I also purchased these 4 by 9 pots. It's 4 inches by 4 inches by 9 inches tall. And these will go in the pot like that. Now in terms of the soil, I made my own little mixture here. This is rice hulls with coco coir, peat moss, and vermiculite. So lots of different things to create aeration. And I have in this 5-gallon bucket that I made, I poured in about 1 gallon of water because most of the coco coir and everything was relatively dry. So 1 gallon to a 5-gallon bucket of this soil. And I distributed it between these 2 buckets so that I could mix it better. And I mixed it back and forth. If I grab this and squeeze, no water is coming out, but it feels moist and it's holding together. That's how you know if you have enough moisture in there. Some of the vermiculite and stuff sticking to my hands. This again is a part of the experiment. It is March 4th. Gonna take these, place the soil in the pot here and fill it up. And then I am going to take this plastic and put the plastic around this whole entire container and secure it at the top after I put some paraffin on the tips of these guys. So not to bore you with all the details, I will just loosely put the soil in here. I will probably scrape off part of the bark here to expose the cambium layer. I have tried not exposing the cambium layer, just putting it in directly. I've tried exposing it. I don't know if there's much of a difference between the two or the successes or failures between the two, but I'm following kind of mixed information based off of what I found online. But I do know I like these tree pots. I don't really like doing the fig pop method. It's convenient and easy. Every fig pot that I have moved up to a pop, it really goes into shock. It really has a hard time. Even though I'm being as gentle and as gentle as I possibly can, still having issues. This, with the plastic wrapped around it, is supposed to keep all the moisture in there. I will keep it tied over for about probably 2 months. And then I'll open it up and start to water it. Hopefully that will give enough time for root development and green growth. And I'll be able to see if I have any green growth. Okay, so I'm gonna open these up, let them air dry first before I put the soil in here. And I'm gonna do the forget it method. You just put it in there with it secured in the plastic on a heat pad and then let it do its thing for a month and see if there's any growth. And if there is some growth, then put a light in there to help it out and just keep the temperature on it. So we'll see if it works. This is just all a part of the experiment. So I hope this info helps. Now, flashing forward to me having these all in the pots. All right, so here I have all of the fig trees placed in bags. I didn't put any paraffin or wax over the tops of them for most of them. I just placed them in this plastic. Each of them weigh about 500 grams, so I can water them. That way when the water starts to evaporate in a couple of weeks, or when it starts budding, I can know how much to water them. The other alternative that I think is a good idea, and I guess Figaholics Harvey does too, is that he places water in the bottom, about 1 inch worth of water. So I'm just leaving these out in the sun to kind of warm up right now. It's about 70 degrees, but at night it gets down pretty darn cool. So I'm gonna put them on some a mat for heat, and then in probably a month I'll take the plastic off, or in a couple weeks take the plastic off and put in about an inch of water at the bottom and bottom water them. Most of these are potted and placed about halfway down, so there's a good amount of soil down here that if I do bottom water, it's not going to rot out the cutting, and it will allow for the roots to go down towards the bottom. At least that's the theory. So we'll see how well it works. I've tried, I don't know, probably 75, maybe 100 different cuttings. And so far I've only had a small success because I keep trying different things to see what works. And it feels like I'm getting the hang of it, but I mean, it's pretty darn costly. It's almost more worth it to go and buy a fruit tree instead of trying to do all these starts, because it's $100 per order, whereas a fruit tree costs me $30 or $40 that's already started. And it's usually a year old, so I don't have to worry about it. But I can't get these rare varieties that I end up killing anyways. Hope this information is beneficial, but that's the plan. I will give you an update in a couple weeks.